From cheating in ranked to carrying Jinxie and eventually becoming the best controller player in the entire world, this is the story of ST0MPN, the king of console. To understand just how good ST0MPN is, we first have to go back to where it all began, Operation Grim Sky. Operation Grim Sky was the season that introduced many changes. The two new operators for the season were Maverick and Clash, with the season also introducing other changes like the Hereford base rework. This season is the start of ST0MPN's Siege career. He would level his account to play ranked and immediately start the console grind. His first season playing ranked ever, he hit Plat 2 with a 1.1 KD. Keep in mind, Plat at the time was much harder to get than it is today. It was ranked 1.0, and there were way less ranks back then. So hitting one of the highest ranks in the game at the time, Plat 2, was very impressive for a player's first season on the game, especially with a positive KD. This was the start of ST0MPN, with eventually the goal in his mind to become the greatest Siege player in the entire world, and he would do whatever it took to get there, even stooping so low as eventually cheating on console. This is where ST0MPN would start to use a Zim. When he hit Plat 2 on his first season with a positive KD, most people were already suspicious of him using a Zim at first, but when the very next season he would hit the highest rank in the game, which at the time was Diamond, and he would do it with a 1.5 KD, everybody knew that ST0MPN was Zimming. Either that, or this was his Smurf account. Now very quickly, if you don't know what Zimming is, it is essentially a third-party plugin that you could use on your console to allow you to play a mouse and keyboard on console instead of having to use a controller. This is a huge advantage because the average controller player has much worse aim than someone on a keyboard and mouse. When you have a mouse, you can be much more precise with your movements in terms of your aim because you're able to use every muscle in your entire arm to aim, whereas on console, you can only use your thumb, and the joystick is so much harder to use than something as precise as a mouse. Because of this, many players, including myself, consider this to be a form of cheating, especially since Ubisoft themselves have acknowledged it as cheating in the past. Because of how common it is to Zim, especially at the higher ranks of console, however, there really isn't any punishment most of the time for people who do this, including ST0MPN. Now that you know what a Zim is though, how long was ST0MPN using it for? As of right now, ST0MPN isn't using a Zim and hasn't for many years, but as an estimated guess, it's safe to say that at the very least, ST0MPN was using a Zim from Grim Sky all the way to Shadow Legacy. It's not even 100% confirmed that he was really ever using a Zim in the first place, much less to the extent that I've talked about it to ST0MPN's defense, but it's pretty heavily implied not only by him, but his stats and the friends that he has around him that have talked about it. Up until Neon Dawn, he was really just playing the game to hit the high rank and leave, just like most console players at the time. Once the season Neon Dawn was released, however, this is where ST0MPN would show his level of dedication to the rest of the world. In this season, ST0MPN would amass an insane 1,147 ranked games played in this season alone. Most high-level players and people who use this game as a living only reach 400 to 500 games played per season on average. So double that just for a ranked star and a kid was absolutely insane.
ST0MPN, you're gonna have so much aura in real life. Yo, ST0MPN, be honest, bro. What is your daily routine, bro? And like, don't lie, bro. Don't be on no weird shit. ST0MPN, when you wake up in the morning, what do you do?
Nothing. I'll hop straight on the game.
You don't be eating or showering or shitting or pissing?
Nope.
How about brush your teeth?
Nah, none of that. Just straight on Siege.
That sounds healthy, no?
For reference, that's almost an entire month of doing nothing but playing ranked matches. Keep in mind, this is not including queue times, launching the game, sleep, eating, or anything in between. How did he have this much time on his hands, you might be asking? Well, at the time, even when he hit #1 champ on North American console, he was only 14. 14 years old. He was just a kid, which is the craziest part about this entire story. Even now, at the time of this recording, he can't even try out for Pro League because he's still only 17 years old. So it's safe to say that he was absolutely no-lifing the game, but it paid off super well in the end. Because with this many games played at such a high level, as well as him finally posting on TikTok, people started to recognize him, eventually getting to the point where he would be able to get his own 5-stack, and that truly is where nobody in the ranked ladder could stop him at all. This eventually led him to becoming the #1 console champion in North America, and it seemed like nothing could stop him. Not only was he climbing the ranked ladder easily, but Stompin also was blowing up on TikTok. People were going crazy over Stompin's videos because his aim, especially for a console player and for a 14-year-old, was just insane. He had near perfect mechanics for a controller, it seemed, but it was still clear that he was on a controller at this point. He became so well known on TikTok and within the console ranked community at a higher level that he and another very popular console Siege creator would eventually meet and collab. This player, as many of you already have guessed, is Jinxie. Jinxie right now is, bar none, the most famous Siege player on planet Earth. Hands down. He's a household name for anybody that knows about Siege or even about streaming. So when Jinxie found Stompin and asked to 1v1 Stompin on his stream, it absolutely blew up Stompin to a different level of fame. Not only for appearing on Jinxie's stream, but for absolutely dominating Jinxie in their 1v1.
That's my brother.
Ready to get put on fucking pad watch something?
This kid is fucking crazy. Every round, it's a headshot immediately. Oh my god. Dead. Like, what the fuck?
Not only would Stompin get huge on TikTok, but Stompin, after this 1v1, would actually go on to make content on Twitch as well, starting his account on February 22nd of 2021. His Twitch stream immediately blew up because he was already famous among the console community. Like I said, he was already massive on TikTok and was playing with the biggest Siege streamer in the entire world. It only made sense and was only natural that when he would start streaming, he would see near instantaneous success. The craziest part about all of this, though, is that even after he became #1 champ on North American console, he was somehow still getting better at the game. His mechanics were better, his game sense was better, his decision making was better, hell, even his timings were better. Stompin was in the conversation at this point to not only be the best controller player in North America, but now in the entire world, and nobody could beat him. But when you're already at the top of the ranked charts, there really isn't much to grind for. On PC, you could always just play competitively and become a pro player, but on console, there really wasn't anything like that. That was until the infamous Roller Saturdays was created. Console kids, Stompin included, wanted a way to feel like they were in Pro League without having to switch to PC to actually do it. At the time, PC was and still is ridden with cheaters, so instead of facing that and the amount of climbing they would have to do, they created their own path, and they created their own invite-only tournament for only console players called Roller Saturdays. As the name suggests, this was a competitive tournament that would happen between the best controller players globally every single Saturday. And because Jinxie was one of the heads of this tournament, not only was the tournament always fresh with new and good players, but this tournament would also have a lot of views and eyes on it at all times. This is how the Jinxieverse started. If you don't know what the Jinxieverse is, pretty much anyone who made it into Roller Saturdays would become famous overnight. People like Richie, Mingo, and Skype, who all had small careers already, would immediately be household names to all Jinxie viewers and console players literally overnight. It was, and still is, insane. There's no other way to put it. Even with all of the good players in this tournament, however, Stompin, as usual, found a way to absolutely dominate. He has over 40 wins in this tournament at the time of this recording, and the most amount of wins in the Discord server, with the least amount of losses. Stompin was so good, and is still so good, that most people were begging to be on his team in this tournament, because it was almost a guarantee to win every single time just because you had this guy on your team. It was undeniable at this point that on console, Stompin was the best, bar none, with even the people in second place to him not even being able to touch him. He was literally the Gojo of console, and still is. It's kind of insane. It got so bad to the point where they literally made a rule that he can't stack with certain other good players, otherwise it would be too unfair to anybody else playing the tournament, which is just absolutely crazy. Imagine if PC Pro League made it to where Bolo just couldn't play with Spoit because they'd get too many kills. Like, that would never happen, but because the skill gap between Stompin was so vast compared to even the above average console rank star, the people who ran the server didn't see any other choice. But even after all of this, and everything I've said about Stompin, there was just one other player who was giving Stompin a bit of a run for his money, and that is Kaysen. Kaysen was widely considered to be the only other console player that could play on the level that Stompin was playing. Considering their playstyles and aim were very similar, this doesn't come too much of a surprise to me or anybody else who knows who Kaysen is. So when there was finally a challenger to Stompin and his skill and his throne as console king, they settled who was really better with how anyone does in the console community. They finally 1v1'd each other, and here's how it went.
Nah, what the? Nah, how'd you? Nah, that's crazy, man.
Oh my god.
Damn it, bro.
Top 4 eliminated. Damn. Mission.
Fuck, bro. No, you. Damn it, bro.
I thought you were
But
gonna
that shit was so
Right,
good.
needed all.
Damn, you were there.
I was on the outside.
Damn it, bro.
Top 4
I know you don't.
eliminated.
This was, and still is, one of the most close 1v1s of Stompin's career, but ultimately, Stompin would win, proving to everyone that he still rightfully belonged on the throne as console king. Since then, no one has been able to do what he does quite on the skill that he does it. At this point in his career, he's the best he's ever been, and it just seems that he keeps on getting better, not only in terms of his skill, but also in how famous he is getting. At just 17 years old, he has amassed over 400,000 followers on Twitch, over 450,000 on TikTok, and many more across his YouTube channels, or people that do clip channels of him as well. Stompin came in the scene, dominating the ranked ladder the second he started playing Siege. And even after he was proved to be on controller, he's now dominating everyone in the entire world that is on console. He even gives some PC players a run for their money too. This is the story of a kid who was unstoppable, the very definition of a prodigy. This is the story of Stompin. If you liked today's video, check out this video next, and I hope we'll see you there.